Yes, ma'am. How are
Yes.
you this
I'm
evening?
good. How you doing?
I'm wonderful, y'all. This is Miss Michi X. We will get into it. Y'all just wave to her, say hi, please, and your little emoji hand things, so that she knows that y'all are here and y'all they listening. They just listening. I want to thank you, sis. This is my sister Michi X's debut time on Twitter Spaces. I hope she enjoys it. We are going to get into a few things. Sister Michi, welcome. We have Brother Arthur Ward on. He's from Chicago. And I don't know
Okay.
whether to call him a co-host or a Michi X fan.
Well,
What
yeah.
should I
Well,
call you?
I gotta let Michi know that I've been a fanboy of hers ever since the Bill Cosby video that she did. So she
Yes,
got me
sir.
locked in.
Well, I want to say thank you for having me. I want to say hello to everybody that did all the
Okay.
waves. I'm new to this Twitter stuff. As you see on my page, I have nothing. So this is just one more platform. I guess I got to try and keep up with. But I want to thank everybody for having me.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, we are by the people media. I think I have to send you and your assistant the link on our website and different things that we're
Okay.
doing. We're basically um, freedmen, politically speaking. The freedmen are a political status because we said, hey, we're not doing the race thing anymore. We're not doing any fighting for racial whatever, because then they try to throw in a lot of things. And according to the Chemerinsky, who is he is the foremost leading congressional scholar on law as far as the Supreme Court. He's saying that if you start saying black this or black that, they're not gonna accept
Hmm.
it. They're gonna throw it out because black is too broad of a term. So we're using freedmen, which is our political status it's been codified in law in various states and in the federal government. So that's who we are identifying ourselves to be. And if we have one parent that descends back into U.S. chattel slavery, then we are due reparations. So we're talking to you because we love you and we want to talk to people, and you be able to talk to the people that are supportive of you and your work. And
Absolutely.
we want, yes ma'am, we want them to know the work that you've been doing. If you don't know who this lady is, this is Michi X. As Brother Arthur Ward said, I first became knowing about her during her viral video. I probably was one of the people that helped make it go viral because I sent it to all of my family members, which is a lot of people, and friends. And I made sure, I said, listen to this lady, listen to her. Um, so, and we got, okay, this is my other co-host, but I'm going to bring him up to speak. His name is Mr. Ali. He's the other half of the BT squared. And Ali, can you say hi to Michi, please, brother?
Hey, Michi, how's everything?
I'm good. How you doing?
Everything is good. Yep.
Good. Good, good. Thank you for having me. Thank you. So I want to say too, I know questions are off limits. Like we can discuss whatever it is that you guys want to discuss tonight. I think it's always great to get with people that are putting in the work. I think oftentimes on social media, we watch people with big platforms, including someone like myself. And in a lot of those things, we forget about the people that are out here doing the real work that are not seen, every day and the stuff that they're putting in. So I think that it's great to connect with people like you guys and have these conversations because this is actually where the real work is happening, right? It's in these smaller groups. Not to say that work isn't happening on a bigger level, but I'm going to be honest with you, in the years that I've done this work in the Black community, on and offline, I would tell you the biggest work is not always the stuff that is captured. It's not the stuff that's online when you see the real work being done. So I'm just glad to be here. And we can, I can talk on all kind of stuff. So we can take this conversation, however you guys want to go. I'm okay with that.
You know what? The first thing I'd like to ask you, Michi, though, It's like
Arthur, can you hold on a second? Arthur, can you hold on a
yeah, go
second?
ahead.
Just please,
Oh, I'm
just a
sorry. Go ahead.
second. I want to read this really quick because Mechee was born in Detroit. Mechee, correct me if I'm wrong, but she
Yes, yes.
is an activist, entrepreneur, media mogul from MX Network. She just recently had a family survival camp, which included 2A. So we can talk about that. I got people in here that are 2A instructors, including myself. You know, I want to hear about that.
Okay.
She's an entrepreneur mentor. She's a spoken word artist and rapper. Her last album was Revolutionary. If you have not gotten that album, you can still go and purchase it. Am I correct on that, Sister Michi?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And if you, I mean, just buy it anyway. Just go and buy it because we had an artist here before and people were in there buying. We're going to talk more about that. She is most importantly a mother and a grandmother. So we got to get this
Mm.
sister. She got about 10 jobs right there. So let's give it up and let's give it up for Sister Michi X and Brother Arthur Ward. You can come in, sir.
Okay, I'm going to plow right in. Now, Michi, you've been observing the freedmen, not the freedmen, but the reparations movement
Mhm.
mostly seems like since its inception. I'm talking about the new freedmen movement. A couple of things I'd like to ask. How do you feel? How do you feel about what you're seeing now in this space? And how prepared do you feel that we are as a people to properly receive reparations at this time?
I will say that I like the direction that I see reparations going as far as I think as we the people, right? That we have finally come to an understanding that in order to get reparations, I agree, you know, we can't be in this broad term of black, right? You have to be a specific group because black covers a lot of things, people in this country that are not necessarily people who have the right to reparations. And so I think that makes it real easy for them to just, you know, put it to the side and water it down and say, well, we really don't know who's asking for what or what you're asking for. So I have seen, you know, in the past couple years, organizations and, you know, quite a few people coming forward and saying, well, let's be specific about who we are as a group. So I like to see that. You know, but as far as reparations, let me say, I think it's going to be still an uphill battle. I think that we have to stop giving away our votes without demanding something first. But I also think we have to put our money behind a politician because we know that politicians are paid for it. Like anything else, you go somewhere and buy off of a shelf. And if we're not backing anybody, then they're not trying to hear what we have to say anyway. As far as being prepared for reparations, I really think that as a whole, our people, I don't think that we have a full understanding of what reparations is. It's the repair, and that doesn't just include a check. And so I think that if they gave us a check, and the government was like, okay, we'll give everybody a check, I wouldn't be okay with that. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why I wouldn't be okay with that just being the situation is because we have been conditioned to be some of the biggest consumers in this country. I think that we don't have the knowledge to take that money and really build something for our community as a whole. So I think that the money will get spent. It will go right back to the hands, for the most part, of the capitalists and this white America. And we'll be in the same conditions that we're in. So I want us to also think about reparations as a repairing. And that repairing would mean that the government would have to talk about putting money aside that is just for the rebuilding of our communities, just for the building of all of the things that they've torn down. When we talk about repair, which is the word reparations, to repair what's been done, we have to also not just talk about a check, but about how we begin to restructure and take down the systematic racism that is in this country that affects us. Because if you're not repairing that, you're not giving us true reparations. So I think reparations is a very deep conversation, more so than just a check. And I think that if the government ever decided to give us reparations, they would be really glad if we just kept the conversation to a check. Because if you get to talking about the real repair of what they've done, you're talking about a whole lot more than just some money.
And
So
so
I'll say
in
that.
that,
I'll start
you're
there and leave it
also
there. You know, there's a lot to be said, but I'll stop right there. You know, and see what you have to say about that.
okay. But I do see in your statement though the potential for a lot of work on our part, because I'm mostly of what you just said, but I'm starting to emphasize at this point that we have to consciously, it's just like when a person wins a lottery and the state suggests that you do certain things before you cash that ticket.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of like a period that we really, really need to seriously deal with before we get reparations. Because I am afraid of a lot of the things that you had mentioned and what you just mentioned, in that instead of reparations feeding us, it will end up feeding the capitalists and benefiting everybody except us.
Absolutely. And so like I said, I think that a lot of our people on the larger masses, we don't really understand reparations. I think a lot of us don't understand even the root of how we got to where we are, to be able to even go back to what we really need them to change for it to be reparations. So I think the masses of our people in this country hear check, they hear reparations, and I think they're okay with that, because we don't always understand the depths of what really keeps us in the positions we're in. We think this is life. Plenty of our people wake up every day in ghettos, in inner cities that are poverty stricken, and people live below the poverty level. They're born into these communities all day long. And you know how many of us think that this is just life, like this is just how it is, and we don't understand the depths of ghettos are created. The government keeps these situations the way that they are. Like, that's a part of reparations. You can no longer oppress people by creating these ghettos in these inner cities. See, that's the reparations people don't understand, and that's the reparations the government don't want to talk about, stuff like that. So I think that we have to keep moving forward and trying to open our people's eyes. So as we demand reparations, we make sure we're demanding a thorough, reparation, something that's really going to change where we are in this country.
All right. I want
Okay,
to thank you, Mechee, for that. Oh, I'm sorry, Arthur. Did you have a follow-up question right now for Sister
no, thank
Mechee?
you. No, thank you. That was substantial. It's giving me quite a bit to chew on. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I wanted to ask everybody here if you can please share out this space, because as you see, the sister drops nothing but jewels all over the place. And we're going to get into this, and everybody that's here, I'm going to try to remember who's here. So when we get to the Q&A where you guys can ask some questions too, then I'll open it up and let you up on stage. But please tweet this space out. This is very important. This is the debut for Sister Mechee X. Brother, Mr. Ali, I know you wanted to ask us some questions.
Well, I have a question that's a little bit off from what you were just talking about. What took you so long to get on Twitter?
Okay, so this is the funny thing. I'm not really a social media person for someone who is on social media.
What?
Absolutely. I am an introvert who likes to stay to myself. And social media is not something that it's not that I can't use it. It's just that for me, Twitter was like one more platform to keep up with. So I have my Facebook, I got the YouTube, I got the Instagram. I'm like, what? I got to get another one, so I actually only have this Twitter because, I was invited to another forum to speak, so I needed to have a Twitter, I guess, handle or page to do that. So as you see, I don't have anything on my page or anything yet. I haven't tweeted anything. I do hear this is where it goes down on Twitter, so this is where I might want to be. But for me, it's just a lot to keep up with. As a person who's not in love with social media. I mean, if you go over to my Instagram, I haven't posted anything in 2 weeks. I'm not suspended. I go about my day-to-day life, and oftentimes stopping to tweet something or to respond to comments that just doesn't really fit in my day. So I do what I'm supposed to. I try and make the best of it, but in all the work I do, I use social media because I have to, kind of the era we're living in. But no, it's not my favorite thing. So this is why I don't have
No
a
doubt.
Twitter until now.
Well, I'll tell you this. You're not really missing out. Well, you're missing a lot, right? But you're not missing anything that's not gonna, I mean, like what you're missing will cause you headaches. I'll put it like that. If you were on Twitter more, it would just you would be fighting. I think that's all I'll say. You would be on here fighting, and it would be giving you headaches and stuff. So in that sense, you ain't really missing much.
Unless you on with us, Mechee. We the cool people. For real. For real, for real. Look, I used to be on Facebook and I got kicked off for like a month just because I gave an opinion and somebody reported me. And I'm not, as you probably see, I'm usually bubbly like this all the time, right? And they were like, they threw me, girl, they threw me out to the curb so hard that I bumped my head on Twitter. So that's how I got here.
So yeah, that's how I'm on. Now I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind coming to these I don't even know what to call them. I don't even be on here. See, I don't mind coming to these Twitter spaces or forums, and I think for me, I look at every social media platform a little different. And on YouTube, I know a lot of people invite guests and they have panels. That's not really something I do. In all the years I've been on YouTube, like I don't want to take the time to download no software. I don't know how to invite a guest on. I really don't care about that stuff. But I kind of like Twitter because I can just, create a room, or I can, click in and we can have these conversations. So I do like Twitter for that. So you will see me, if people want to invite me, I don't mind, doing this on Twitter, but you probably ain't gonna get no post. If y'all waiting on a meme or a video, it's not going down.
No doubt. Yep, that's cool.
Hey, Mechee, I wanted to ask you. I'm sorry, Ali. Did you have something else to ask Sister Mechee? Because I want to get into my little thing right here.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead, Ross.
Oh, okay. I wanted to find out. You had just survived a family survival camp. Can you please tell everybody about this camp, including me? Because I caught the tail end, and I was so disappointed in myself for not being there. But can you please tell us about it?
Absolutely. So I have and we'll get into that later, but on MX Network, so we have a segment called 2A Tuesday. And we talk about, being armed and practicing our constitutional rights and looking at it not in a bad way from the Black community. So we're trying to give another perspective on the network when it comes to being, firearm carriers. And so in that, I have run into some really great people who work in the survival community, who talk about a lot more than just, your right to bear arms and things of that nature. And so we got together and we put on a survival retreat. And we will be having this like every 60 days. There are levels to it that you get up to your survival level. It is a event that families can come to. But basically what we did, we got together for a weekend. There is some wonderful land here, 88 acres owned by a brother, and it has water, and he does have some a house on there and some quarters and means, but for the most part we pitched our tents. We did do a lot of events. We learned how to start fires, we learned how to filter water, we learned the difference of purifying and filtering. We learned things that you should have in your car for an emergency, bug-in bag, which is if you have to stay hunkered down in your home because of an emergency, whether it's a natural disaster, the power went out, you're stuck in your house, whatever, the things you would need to have. Also, if you go out, that's a bug out bag. If you had to leave where you were, what you would need to take with you, and you should have those things prepared. We did do range time. So we had beginners classes for the children. We also had classes for the adults. Let me see. We did first aid. We talked about packing wounds. We talked about tourniquets and how you stop the bleed. That's one of the most important things because that can save someone's life. We don't talk about stopping the bleeding as much as we hear people talk about,
Absolutely.
CPR all the time. And like, even if you can't give them the breaths, at least do the pumping on their chest, right? That could save their life. So a lot of times we don't talk about stopping the bleed. I mean, we'll pull out our phone in the hood and we'll be like, oh, the police is a joke. He probably gonna lay here and bleed out before the ambulance get here. So why not stop his bleeding for him? We don't take, that knowledge and use that. So we practiced that. We talked about that. We did have a survival trivia that was really fun. We have our fun moments. We did something called the a fear walk, and that was probably one of my favorite parts of the survival thing. We went out into the middle, well, I won't say the middle, but we went out into the 88 acres. We had our flashlights and our headlights, and then we were instructed to turn them off, and we had to adjust to the night. And the thing was, what if you didn't have any light that you could use? What if you got in a position where you were trying to survive and you had a team of people? We had scenarios. If we have to get back to camp, but we're walking through the enemy's territory, how do you do that, right? You turn these these lights off, how do we arrange ourselves? We went through scenarios of if we had people in our camp who were causing certain issues, how do you deal with that? Right now, I ain't gonna tell y'all the answers because I got to be there for that. But we put ourselves in, these situations to understand if we had to survive, how would we do that? We talked about things like uh family plans. I don't know if a lot of us, I know that a lot of us, we don't do this in our communities, but preparing and having a plan. So we discussed that with families. If you are somewhere and something does happen, right, in this country, or something bad happens and you're away from each other, do y'all have a plan? How do you get to each other? What if something goes down and your family's not around you? Everybody's at work. Do y'all have a meetup place? Do you know where you should go? If y'all can't communicate, we don't make up these type of plans in case of emergencies in our lives, and we should do that, right? So we talked about that. We have a really excellent brother. He's here in Georgia. He does the bus program, and his name is Shem, and he actually taught defense. And so I love his defense program because he teaches realistic situations. So you're not just going to get the basic, okay, defend yourself. He's going to talk to you about if somebody comes at you with a knife, how do you approach that, right? If you're in an Uber or you got into the wrong lift, we know young ladies have done that recently, coming out of clubs, and you get into the wrong car and you can't get out the back seat and somebody's trying to take you. What do you do with that? We know that Black girls are sex trafficked more than anybody else in this country. So we talk about in his classes, how do you avoid kidnapping? How do you deal with someone trying to grab you in these situations? What should you look for? We teach children things like if the parent is protecting them, the children should always run for safety. We know as adults, you're not going anywhere if you know your kids aren't safe, right? And so you want to know they're safe first, which makes us safer, because once we diffuse the situation, we know we can get away and we're not worried about you. So we talked about, like code words. A person who's coming to get everybody can say to your kids, hey, it's Uncle Ron or whatever. They're not supposed to come out until they hear this word that we have decided. If something goes down, do not come out unless you hear this. I don't care if you hear your name, if you think you hear the police, if you think you hear your grandmother, unless they say this word, you stay where you are, right? So these are the type of things that we did at the survival retreat. There was so much more, but it was about how we survive on all levels, how we begin to think a little bit different. I think in our communities, we are the first to be affected, whether it's by natural disaster or and NASA control the weather. So I don't know what's really natural no more and what ain't. But anytime the government causes these shifts, anytime things are, problematic, we are always the first to be affected, and we're the last to be prepared. Even if it's just a simple power outage in our communities, there's been plenty of times the power goes out in our communities for whatever reason, and you may not have power for 3, 4, 5 days. A lot of us don't even know what to do with that. So imagine if something much greater came about. And so we talked about a bunch of stuff. What I will say is that we are going to continue to have these. So like every 60 days, we will have a new one. It's good to, if you have to be out in the wilderness surviving, let me tell you something. You can't always dictate the weather. So we will be doing this through the winter as well. There are different ways to survive in different types of weather. So there are going to be some of them that are going to get, pretty up there for people who have worked their way up the ranks, and you are in the top survival group, to where we may at some point go out and, all that we can have is what we can carry on our back in a bag. And that's realistic. So you can't carry a tent. So do you know how to make shelter? So it's going to get serious over time. But of course, this is all voluntary of people, but these are amazing skills that we need to have. And it's really beautiful to watch all of the Black people and Black children and mothers and fathers and families that really do these things. And we don't think these types of Black people exist because we're only used to what media projects to us. But we have some really amazing people that do amazing things. And there are all the things that we did at that retreat. I will tell you, society and media will tell you only white people do this stuff, right? Well, the truth is, no, we do this stuff too. And so I am definitely trying to bring these things to the community so that we can be better prepared. Not to be long-winded, but I do want to say this. I would ask everybody to think about this. What are three things? And three may be hard. Find one. What is one thing that we depend on our government for, that if they took it away tomorrow and you trust they're never going to take it away, what would that you couldn't do anything. Like if the government decided to tell you power is out and power was out for 30 days in your city. Now don't tell me it can't happen. Because if I told you that they were going to lock everybody down in their house and give you a commissary check and tell you that was your jail and you couldn't go to work, you couldn't run your businesses, don't be outside without a mask, you would tell me, no, they never are going to do that to us. But they did do that to us. And so I think we shouldn't talk about what they would or wouldn't do. But if the government or something happened and your power was out for 30 days, could you sustain? These food shortages are real. And it's not just food shortages, it's supply shortages as well. So it's not even a matter of you know, are they real, or, are they going to happen? Like, they're here. Okay. And so this is the thing.
Mhm.
If you went to the store and there was no food on the shelves, we saw that happen during the pandemic as well. There were times where there was nothing on the shelf. So let's not act like these things can't happen. But what if there wasn't any food on your shelf? Do we know that there is a shortage in with the farmers? So there's a shortage of corn production, right? So corn produces corn syrup. So corn produces a million things we might not even think of. None of those things will be on the shelf if you're missing the abundance of corn that's supposed to be, grown in this country that's not being grown right now due to a lot of things. So how
Absolutely.
many of us can put a seed in the ground? And forget the ground. Let's say you live in the hood. There's no backyard where you live. You live in New York and you got a balcony. Okay. Do you know how to put seeds in a box, in a tote? Do you know how to grow? Because it's not that difficult. But I'm going to tell you now, if you couldn't get fed by the government, because we're too comfortable letting the government do everything for us. And you do know that they can come along and snatch it at any moment too. That's all about power and control. That's why they want it that way. Let's look at example for the women. We were given God-given formula. And the government has put us in so much survival mode. They have told you to give away your free, wonderful breast milk and not give it to your babies, instead for some Similac. And then there was a shortage. How many mothers woke up and was like, I can't find a can of Similac to save my baby's life? And it was about your baby's life. All your breast milk done dried up. You've been feeding your baby this crap. And now there's no formula on the shelf. You know how many of us don't even know how our ancestors, our grandmothers, forget an ancestor far away, that our grandmothers used to act, they didn't have Similac. We don't even know how to make homemade formula. And so these are the things that we have to start thinking about, or we're going to always be the first ones to be exterminated, to be affected by these things, and to go through all this turmoil. At some point, we have to take the responsibility of our survival into our own hands. We can't keep leaving it up to our government. So that's my long, spiel
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
survival retreat. But yeah, we'll have plenty
Oh,
more.
thank
So
you.
you didn't miss
Well,
out.
you know what? Yeah, we gotta talk, Sister Michi, because I'm a licensed firearm instructor, and I teach women and fat men and children survival tactics. So we gotta talk, sis. I wouldn't mind coming down and participating on like one of the upcoming ones. But we'll talk
Absolutely.
about it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That was such a that's I mean, the reason why I wanted you on
Very
here
important.
is just
Very
for
important.
everything you just said, because this is doing for our community. I hear people just throwing tags and things around online, right? And they're not really doing the work in the community. So I'm just unimpressed with them when they do that. I said, well, what have you done in the community? They can't give me 15 seconds of community work. And I'm just unimpressed. It takes a lot to impress me, but you've impressed me from the gate. And I've been looking and seeing, I said, oh, this sister doing this, she doing that. That's work. Family, this is the work that I'm talking about. This is the work we need to see in the community. And it can't be just 10 people. It has to be tens of thousands of us or millions of us. We got 40 million people. It's got to be millions of us doing real work. So I'm going to let Arthur or Ali step in. Thank you for that answer, sister. I appreciate you.
Yes, Meech, I wanted you to give us your take on the importance of business building and entrepreneurship in our community, and also taking our businesses back.
Absolutely. I think that's a really great conversation to have. You now, for those of you that watch me, you probably know that I haven't worked for a person in so long. I can't tell you what year it was. So um I have found that there is plenty of money to be made in this capitalist society. That is the truth of it. And if we understand how money works, I think that we need to get the Mhm.
Okay, you're back. Okay. Let me bring Arthur back up. Go ahead,
Okay.
Sister Michi. We can hear
Okay.
you.
I know that with social media, though, it has completely changed the game. And what I mean by that is you no longer have this overhead of employees and all of this, brick and mortar building that you have. You also have access to customers all across the world, right? Not just who's ever in your community walking past your business. I think that we don't understand how much money is to be made out there. I think that we don't have the knowledge. And when we say, taking our businesses back, I think that we do need to continue to build in our communities. But I think before we can ever invest in our communities, we need to take some of this money that everybody else is out here making, and we need to then take that and invest in our communities. So let me be more specific by what I mean. I teach my students in the classes when I talk about making money online that I think it's great to have Black businesses, right? But we do not always have to make them a Black business. And let me explain to you why. Plenty of people come into our community, they take the Black dollar and then they take it back to their community and build, right? They don't build in the communities that they take all the money from, which is us. When we go to build a business, we always want to slap Black owned on front of it. We always want to be, it's Black, and y'all should support us because we're Black. Okay, let me explain something. You know how many people don't like Black folks. And if you want to tell them your business is Black, you are probably one of millions of businesses that sell that product. So if I don't like Black people, you can say Black all you want, but I can go buy somebody else toilet paper because we got a ton of white people who sell it. I can go buy somebody else's product. I can go buy somebody else stuff that I know is not Black. So sometimes that works against us when we're thinking about taking money from other communities as we put it into ours, but we don't think about business like that. We want a Black business. We want all the Black people to support us, which is good, but it means we're just siphoning more money out of the Black community as well. And if we're not putting it back, we're actually kind of doing the same thing everybody else does to us. And so I tell my students the only color in money is green. Okay. So I would like to see us to get away from some of these lanes that we're always trying to hop in, thinking it's a Black thing, so we should do it, and staying away from stuff that brings us all kind of money, right? We need to stop Blackifying everything we do. How many of y'all have ever seen social media pages or stores, and they'll show you like king and queen shirts and proud to be Black and Black girl magic and Black boy magic? Let me tell y'all a secret. Half
Yep.
90% of the time it's a non-Black person who owns that site. They don't show you their face. They
Yep.
just show you them products, and you buy them because they make you proud to feel Black, and you feel in some white man's pocket and he could give a damn less about Black empowerment, Black girls magic. All he knows is y'all just gave him $30,000 for some merchandise that he done put out there because it makes you feel Black empowered, but you just empowered a white man, right? And so why don't we ever use those tactics? Like, if you get you something online you're doing, why you don't put Karen's in your yoga pants? Why not? You don't want Karen's money? I do. I want her money, right? And so this is the thing. I think we have to start looking at business different and understand a product and our target market. And our target market should not always be other Black people. Our target market sometimes should be
That's right.
everybody else. And with social media, you don't have to show your face. You don't have to be the brand. They don't have to come in and know that you own this place. All they need to see is a product that helps to solve a solution in their life, and they want this product. Whether it's I'm going on vacation, I'm looking for a bikini, and you got bikinis, you're solving my situation. I don't care what color your business is. And matter of fact, we have to stop projecting it, because some people will say, oh, you Black, I'm gonna just go somewhere else about myself because I don't do Black folks. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that we have to first
Yep.
understand that we also have to get out of these industries. Okay, for example, everybody wants to start Black beauty supply. Okay, I get it, and it's great. But if we don't understand that the Asians actually have that locked up, and in order to get a vendor and somebody to give you the right
That's right.
products, you have to get in with them, and they don't let you in. They have the game sold up. I know Black people who own beauty supplies. Do you know that they don't have as many products as the other people? They won't sell it to them for the same price. There was a beauty supply in Colorado that we went to protest against because a young lady went in there and they called the police on her because they thought she was stealing. The police and them came and wrestled this poor little tiny girl to the ground. Um, and then when they found out she wasn't stealing, because they couldn't charge her with anything, they decided to charge her with trespassing. But it's a business and she came in to buy something. We were so upset. We went down there and everybody that came in, we gave them information to go to the Black beauty supply in the community. Go over there and stop giving them your money, right? So let me tell you what happened. They called them up and they told them, if your people don't stop taking our business and send them to you, we will stop your supplies. This is what her supplier told her. And she called us and said, could you please stop passing out my stuff? You can tell people not to go over there, but don't tell them to come here instead, because in a minute I won't have a business. So see, all of us that talk don't know the depths of the stuff we deal with in these lanes of business. So what I would say to you is, let them have that shit. Stop trying to start a beauty supply. We think, oh, well, Black folks spend so much money on that. We might as well have Black folks give the money to us. Why don't we venture into some different lanes? Like, you can go to these China websites that are vendors and you can create your own detergent. Tide got pods. You can have pods. Tide got bleach pods. You can have bleach pods, right? There's cleaning supplies over there, from the sticky things you put in your toilet to the stuff you scrub your toilet with. It's the same exact stuff that Tide and all the big brands use that's in Walmart. They get it from the same place. We have access to those websites, right? And so if you go over there, you don't need business licenses or anything. Why don't you think of some other business? For example, I just went to the store the other day. The detergent in there was $27 for the same container of detergent pods I used to buy for $19.99. Now it is $27. You do know that the vendors did not raise the prices on those companies. They're using inflation as an excuse to charge you more money, right? Because I can show you right now where you can go to Alibaba website. You guys take that free piece of knowledge, Alibaba, and on Alibaba, you can buy those pods right now for 5 cents a pod. So why are they charging you $27? So instead of trying to get into the race of the beauty supply industry, because we buy weave up the ass, you know what everybody in America, no matter what color they is, do? They wash their damn clothes. How about that
Yep.
industry, right? So why you can't go get it, and instead of juking the people, just make your stuff cheaper than theirs. And this would actually, during the recession, be a great time for you to introduce yourself, because what people still want is to wash their clothes, but they also want to save some money. So you undercut everybody else, and that's how you become a household name. So this is what I mean in short of how we need to look at other industries that make way more money instead of always just going to the lanes. Look, they got this locked up. We can't get into the hair game. So either stop buying the hair or either go do something else. But they're not letting us in the industry. So we should just hang it up when it comes to starting our own beauty supply. You can sell your weave bundles. They'll let you do that. But they're not giving you, you're not going to ever have, as a Black person, a beauty supply that look like Kim's, that got 12 aisles, and everywhere you go, that is stocked from front to back with all of that stuff. You're never getting all of those products. And that's real. So we need to change our focus onto something else, right? And so if you think you make billions off of Black people in weave and eyelashes, how much do you think you're going to make off of detergent and cleaning supplies that everybody in America uses? You think the Black community is big. How about the whole country? So this is what I mean about us looking at money different. And social media allows you to do that. You can start a whole business for $500, and that's on the higher end, right? There's a lot of things we can do to make money, but we don't have that knowledge. And so because we don't have that knowledge, we're locked out of the game. And we look at business wrong in the way that they've given it to us, instead of looking at business the way the people who are succeeding look at it. You know, when those white people put up a site that has Black stuff on it, they know it was just another riot. It was just another police murder. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them some Black empowerment right now. They want it. I'm going to hit this link and make my $100,000 off of all of these t-shirts off Black people, because I know right now how they feel. That's my target market, and I'm going after them, right? They look at what's going to bring them money in that moment. And that's all they're looking at, because money has one color. It's green. But we don't think like that as Black people. We think our dollars are all black. They got to all go black to the Black business. When how many Black businesses actually do anything for the community with that money? Now, I'm being real. Maybe that's not a conversation we want to have, but majority of Black businesses are not going to take that money and go build the community they live in. Let's be real. We take that money, we go level up, and we go move out to the suburbs because we glad to get out the ghetto, and we don't do nothing for our community. So are we really building ourselves by keeping the dollar black?
Your family,
That's fact.
like you
That's fact.
said,
Go ahead,
you
Ali.
absolutely right. Now, I was just echoing what she's saying. It really is about building. When you're doing that, you're building your family. You know what I'm saying? It's not really a community drive, like you're saying. You're absolutely right. The other thing I thought was interesting is how you really touched on the fact that blackness does present problems in so many different areas. We always talk about it from the perspective of reparations, but what you did was raise the point of how even approaching it from the business perspective, as a black business, black this, black that, that race thing actually presents barriers for our people as far as advancement is concerned. And I agree with you 100%. It's so much anti-black sentiment out there that, to me, approaching everything from the race perspective is to me is the wrong way to do. It's the wrong way to do it. I think we should know enough at this point that we should not be doing that. We should be sophisticated enough to understand that that's not the approach for pretty much anything at this point. But I mean, I think how people have been conditioned to approach everything as if it's all race work. I always use the terminology now, Mechee. I tell people I'm not interested in doing race work. I'm not interested in doing race work because what happened is doing that kind of work hasn't really progressed us in any way that you think about it. It hasn't really progressed the group. So I remove myself from that. You know, but that's just my thoughts on what you said. I agree with what you were saying.
All right, thank you so much. We got the time is 7:51. We got Sister Mechee X in here, family. She's an activist, entrepreneur, media mogul on MX Network. And if you're not Mechee, can you give us the link on how people can get to MX Network? Because you just mentioned it, but I wanted to make sure everybody in here knows. And also, I want everybody to share out this space. Please share that out and let everybody know if you have not done so. But Mechee, can you tell us more about how to check out MX Network? You had my man Doshan Farad on. I love that guy. That's my brother. He is no joke. He is
That's my
dope,
brother
y'all.
too,
So check it
man.
out.
Me and
Yeah.
me, me and Deshaun been cool for mad long, man.
Years, yes.
Yep, yep.
Yes. Well, let me say, it's a lot I can say around that. Let me say that there's a lot of people out here. I give no shine to the people that I've had problems with, but I take pleasure in people like Deshaun. We have another show coming up with a sister named Goddess Masterpiece. I'm glad because they've been on other people platforms who will work them to death to make a dollar, but won't pay them for their work. And so we take pride at MX Network in being able to employ those same people that came from that same whack ass network I was on as well, and being able to take those people and where they did the work for somebody who didn't deserve it and be able to pay them for it. I'm glad about that. So let me say that shout out to Deshaun and anybody else who's over at MX Network. But you can go to MX Network. You can go, it's mxnetworktv.com. That is our website. And once you get an account over there, then you can take that information and you can log in on Roku. We are on Fire TV. We're on Apple TV. We also have apps in the Android and iPhone stores to watch it. As far as MX Network, let me say this. I got MX Network so that I could no longer be censored. Right now, I'm not on YouTube because somebody reported a video of mine. And so I'm suspended for 2 weeks. One more strike, they're taking my channel away. When other people decided to go and just start a backup YouTube page, I'm like, why am I backing up on the same platform that's going to silence my voice? So YouTube is free. Having your own network is not, but that's okay. I'm willing to pay the price for that. And so I created MX Network as a place, one, for us not to be censored, not just me, but for us not to be censored. Um, and it has turned into something. I have to tell you, a year ago I never would have saw me doing what I'm doing now. It's here though, and I love the journey as it's unfolding before me. But MX Network is what BET should have been. If you go look, it's all original content. It's not just like a fancy YouTube channel. Matter of fact, I haven't even gotten to go live over there yet and do my live show that I plan to do every Monday, because of the editing and all of the other stuff. So we have 2A Tuesdays where we are giving you information about survival. We're going to interview people. We are bringing you documentaries from those who are really doing the work in the section we have called Solution Sundays. And we give you the people who are doing the real work. We go follow them, we document them, we show you what they're doing, we show you where they're at. So, get in touch with them. Like, these are real people, they're doing the real work. We do have entertainment. We do have our independent artist section where we put up videos. I will tell you that I don't take everybody that submits a video, because you have to be talking about something, right? I'm tired of the music we have today. I grew up in the era with Fight the Power That Be, UNITY with Queen Latifah. Like, music is powerful, and I understand the power of media. And so, MX Network takes that very seriously and what we convey to our people. So anybody can't send me a video, but if there are any artists out there listening to this, you're an independent artist, we will put your video up there and highlight you. If you are a Black business, we do have a Black business video directory. So if you have a commercial or a TikTok or any type of advertisement you've made for your business, just simply send it to us at MX Network. Submit. It's on the website at Gmail, and we'll put it up for free in our business section so people know where they can go and get stuff that is Black if you want to be about Black owned. And so we have that. Oh God, we have so much up there. We have yoga for health and wellness. We do have a web series called Till Death Do Us Part by a brother named Silk. He is a really dope director. He's Black. His whole cast is Black. So if you want a little drama over there, we got that too. We have something called Story Time with Somber Reads. My brother, he's a dope Black man, and he narrates scary stories. I have to tell you, people say to me, why the narration and no visual? And the reason I do that, if you have watched me, I went to school for psychology. That's one of the biggest things I like to convey to our people, is how our mind is conditioned. And so I like the story time with Somber Reads, because whether you guys know it or not, it is a mental exercise. I want us to begin to use our imagination, begin to listen to something and let it sink in, instead of visuals always going before your eyes, right? Throwing things in there that you didn't really catch but subliminally is there. It's like a brain exercise, and I think it's good for us to sit still and be quiet, and listen to this story, because the ghost in the closet is different in everybody's mind, and that's the beauty about it. Instead of us telling you what it looks like, you're going to imagine what it looks like. That is definitely a brain exercise I need us to do, right? Shout out to Deshaun. We do have news over there. We will be adding the weather soon to the top 10 Black cities. We don't have the weather yet, but we will be giving you your weather all week for the top 10 most populated Black cities in this country. But he gives news, and the news is stuff that's important to us. We do give, the perspective we want to have. So if we feel you on some bull crap, we might put that up there under Kamala talking, because we don't really agree with what she's saying. But it's our news. We can do it however we want. So we do have him. We give the weekly news. We give the midweek news. And God, I mean, I'm sure I'm missing something, because we have tons of other stuff up there and plenty of things coming. So know that it is a place for our people. So if anybody has any content they would like to say, hey, can I get a show on your network? You probably can, if you're doing something that fits in with what it is that we're doing. But we want to project excellent perspectives of Black people, or even when we're projecting the problems, we always want to make sure that we're bringing solutions, and we want to give a more balanced, more real perspective of what Black America is like versus the ones that the media is always giving us. So, but we have some kids programming coming. Oh yes, we do have STEM STEM programs with Zeiss Institute. So they talk about STEM, building bridges and education for the children. So yeah, if y'all rock with us, I promise you we going somewhere. We have tons of ideas, but it's just me and my one-man team on the side of me, and we do all of the traveling and recording, and then we do all the editing. So it takes some time, but I think we have a lot of stuff up there. Considering we're the only editing team, like you ain't gonna go over there and find two things. We have plenty of sections, and there's plenty of stuff you guys can watch now. So again, that's at mxnetworktv.com, and that's where it all starts. And then you guys can download any app of your choice and watch us on your TV, on your Roku, or anywhere else.
All right, Sister Mechee. Oh my goodness. Now see, this is what we talking about, tangibles. This is what we talking about, doing the work. I do not know how this sister even had this time so far to be able to spend time with us, because I don't know, cloning is not legal yet. But if she were to be cloned, I mean, we would need about 100 of her to get, that good work done. I'm going to ask Sister Kelly to come up on stage, because I know she knows how to populate the Jumbotron, and I definitely want mxnetworktv.com to be in the Jumbotron. But also, I think Sister Kelly has a little bit of background in someone close to you, Sister Mechee, being a student. And I think she had a couple of words to say. So I'm going to invite her to speak. And I'm going to ask her to please populate the Jumbotron. The Jumbotron is at the top, where everybody in here can just click on that link and they can actually go to the page for at a later time, not right now. But Sister Kelly, can you speak to Sister Mechee and let her know? Thank you.
Okay, my spaces is glitching, so I'm not sure what you've said. I just heard my
You
name.
sound clear.
Do I sound clear?
Yeah, you sound clear as a bell. I want you to please speak to Sister Mechee and just let her know where she knew you from.
Oh.
And I wanted you to try to please populate the Jumbotron with her link.
Okay, no problem. First of all, thank you, Mechee, for being here. And the way that you might know me, and just let everybody know, based on what you were talking about with your business, which I heard you kind of speak on it, but the easy streams of income. I am the mother of the 12-year-old who took your class. And I wanted to say thank you for plugging her also. And if you could, yeah, so that is who I am, just to speak to, the work that you do. As a matter of fact, yeah, she was so excited. I was listening to one of your YouTube lives a couple of years back, and you said, I have a baby who's 12 years old taking my class, my online business class. And I thought, oh, that's my kid. So I ran and let her hear it, and she was so happy. She was so pleased. So I just wanted to let you know how you have empowered her and how you have empowered me, because I took your business, your very first online. It was September the 13th. I'll never forget it. It was on Sundays. It was the most empowering. And I'm not just saying that just to say that. I will tell anybody that's listening that Mechee is very informative with her online business classes. She gives you information that people will not ever give you, like the aha moments where you're like, I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know who to contact to just get a label to put on a bottle. I didn't even know where to get the damn bottle. I didn't even know I could talk to someone about making a shoe or doing this or CBD oil or makeup or lipstick, or I just want to sell myself as a product. So she goes that deep where a lot of people won't. And hopefully, like, I just wanted to let you know from me that I'm very inspired. I'm very encouraged. And my daughter is very encouraged and has a thriving business because of you. So I'm glad that I was able to pass that on to her.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. And I'll take a breath for now and I'll try to populate that Jumbotron. But thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That, I don't ask for funds and nothing that I do, even when I'm doing something for the community, because I enjoy that's my hobby. So I take my extra money from my business. I do put it back into the community because that's my reward. But I want to say what you just said is my biggest reward. I really just want to see us win. And I know that everybody's not going to take the information I give and do anything with it. But it's the people that do that, that's my reward. Because I remember when I was 12 years old and had somebody told me all of the stuff, that your daughter is working on at 12 years old. Like, she's going to be so amazing as the next generation when she's our age. Like, when she's 20 something years old, she's going to be in a whole nother position because of the knowledge she has at this age and that she's using it and she's building something. And if she sticks with this, oh my God, you talk about a business that has been built over the years. There's no way she's not going to be doing excellent for herself when she's a young adult, and if she decides to go and have an employer, fine. But I think it's beautiful that she can make that choice. I don't want to go work for nobody. I didn't get grown to go to college. I just ran my business better, so I think those options are a beautiful thing. And so I'm just glad to hear that. That's my biggest reward, to know that what I'm doing actually helps somebody. I think a lot of people do work. We talk a lot, and sometimes I feel like, do I just be talking to be talking? But to know that it makes a difference, like, that's my biggest reward. So I want to thank you for that, because those are the things that help me keep doing the work that I'm doing when I know that it's actually making a difference. So I want to say thank you for that. I appreciate you letting
And
me
I
know.
want to, yeah, and I want to say something else really quick because my daughter hears you speaking, so
Mhm.
she wants to speak to you. Go
Absolutely.
ahead. Go ahead.
Hello.
Say
Hi,
hi.
honey.
Say thank you.
Thank you so much for that business class. It was really fun and it helped me a lot.
Well, thank you, honey. I'm so proud of you, for taking those steps and starting your business. And I'm going to tell you, like, I don't know if I said this before, but tell your mother to send me an email with your link so that we can go ahead and shoot it out in the email to everybody. And we can go ahead and talk about it and promote your business some more, So make sure that your mom emails me all of that to the real MecheeX at Gmail so we can continue to help you grow. I am so proud of you.
Thank you. And I will email you because I need more help.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Tell your mom to email me and we will. I will give you a free consultation, baby. I will. So
Thank
you
you so
email
much.
me and we will make that happen.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mechee.
No
I
problem.
take a breath.
All right, that's what's up. We got if you have little ones that are out here learning and growing and doing their thing, Sister Michi, I mean, I'm an educator also, and I love hearing that. You almost brought tears to my eye. I got big sister up in here crying and junk. So I love stuff like that. And this, like I said, this is a positive space, sister. I'm about getting that work done. I know you are too. I actually met you when you came to DC and we took a picture. I was out working with a family member and I said, we got to go over here to meet Michi because this is no
Okay.
joke. Yes, ma'am. I was the
Was that
one with the little
when we
earrings.
did the Black Agenda?
Yes, ma'am. I
You
was
know
the
what?
one that gave you the little earrings and I'm kind of tall,
Okay.
but
I do
yes,
remember
ma'am.
that. Yes. Thank you. Let me say, you know what? And I'm glad you said you came to the Black Agenda when we did the Black Agenda because MX Network is nothing more than the Black Agenda online. We give solutions, just like at the Black Agenda, we brought everybody and said, here's your solution in your community, right? Here's the answer. And we gave them some knowledge and then we help people build what solutions they don't have. I want to say that's what MX Network, I believe, has become. And so for anybody who's been to the Black Agenda, really we are a highlight in a center of where we believe in giving the solutions. You know what I'm saying? Something that's tangible. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I do remember you from saying that, and yeah. So if I can say anything to you that makes it makes network more understandable, it's the Black Agenda times 10 online. So
Got you. Oh yeah. I mean, the Black Agenda was just fire. I was really hurt and disappointed when that thing hit and you couldn't do the one in Baltimore because I was gonna go there too because
mhm.
Baltimore is just like 45-minute drive and it's no big deal. I used to live up there. But I think that what you're doing and how you think is just extremely progressive. You think, I mean, I hate saying it, but you would, I think, a lot alike. which is I think a great thing. And I mean, somebody can slap me down, but don't slap down my guest because she is worth it. But it's like a great thing because I think we need to have more of this major chord people working in sync for the community and not for our own personal aggrandizement and egos, right? So I really appreciate that. I wanted to go to my other two co-hosts, Mr. Ali or Mr. Arthur Ward. If not, then we're going to go to the audience and start bringing people up and letting them, pose a question to you, and we'll go from there if that's fine with
Okay,
you.
absolutely.
Okay, I want to ask one big question. How do you feel that we should be moving politically, and what do you feel that we should be doing to become more effective politically now?
That for me is a tough question because honestly, I don't believe in politics. And let me say, I don't want to be the people like, oh, well, Mechee, what do you do? Okay, if we're gonna play the politics game, let me say this first and foremost. If we're gonna play the politics game, we need to make sure that we put our money into politicians that we want something for. I think that we as Black people need to understand that all of this, you should just vote for us because you're Black, or we should just get your vote because they promise stuff to all these other groups and never promise us anything. But they're not going to give us anything because we didn't purchase them. I will remind everybody here that Obama received $10 million, I believe it was, from the LGBTQ. He received millions from immigration and things of that nature. And then I want you to look at the term that he ran and who he helped. Right? We expected him to help us because of the color. We got to get over that. Like, politicians not doing nothing for us if we haven't purchased the politician we want. So I will say that in a nutshell, like, we have to start, and that's an important thing too, why we got to get our money up. This is why we have to have different types of businesses and begin to look at business different so that we can have money. Because when you talk about other politicians, you know what? It's big companies, it's corporations, it's folks that have money because they run businesses and they're writing $10,000 checks a piece to these politicians, and they have bought them. That's the truth. And then they go in there and they fight for the people who put them in office financially, not the person who put them in by voting. You watch Asians get all the stuff that they get. When have you ever seen a just go vote for the Asians? When do you see them tell anybody to vote? When do you see them talking about standing in line and voting? They write checks. Okay. And so we have to understand that when it comes to politics. But to be honest, I personally, I'm going to be honest with you. When people ask me something, I know a lot. And when I don't know, I'm not going to give you a lie. I'm going to tell you, I can't tell you the best way to politically approach how we get things changed, because I firmly believe that the government, AKA white supremacy, right? That's the real white supremacy right there, is your government. They are founded, even their political practices and the way they put people in office. It's all set up from the very get-go to never work in the favor of the people that it should. The system is not broken. It works just like it should. The government is corrupt just the way it's always been. And so if you ask me how we change something, we have to tear down the government. You can call it what you want, a revolution, a overthrowing. The Constitution actually gives us the right to do so. It says that when your government has become, creates tyranny against its people, the people have the right to overthrow the government. And the government creates tyranny on its people all day long. Like, that is so evident. The evidence is out there. It's not hidden. You can Google all of the stuff they've done to their own citizens, and they continue to do. And so if you want to see a real change, you got to overthrow the government. So I don't believe in the government or any aspect that they bring. The government is the number one enemy in my eyes. They're the number one enemy. And if we're going to change anything in the fabric of this country, we must start by tearing down the foundation, which is the government, and forcing them to build something different. So I don't really do the political thing, because when I look at it, I don't really see it. I see it giving us false hope. I don't ever see it doing anything real for us if we understand the root of it. So I'll say that. I hope that's enough of an answer, but I don't really have a political way that we approach this. If you ask me, I think we should tear down the whole damn government and don't go to Walgreens and burn it down, and don't go over to the shoe store and burn it down, and don't go raid the grocery store. Like, if you knew who your real enemies were, you would go straight to all of the government buildings and watch how quickly they would stop you and not let you tear that up like they let you pre-gentrify and tear up your communities, right? So they know what they're doing. But yeah, my enemy is the government. Our enemy is the government. And so I don't believe in our enemy ever being the one to save us, if that makes sense.
Okay, I got it.
All right, Mr. Ali, you have a question, sir? Because I got one, then I'm gonna let the audience start coming up.
Yeah, you go ahead and Roz, and then we can bring the audience in because I'm just enjoying the dialogue right now. The
Yeah,
sister's on
this is
fire.
fire,
She's got so
y'all.
much
Y'all,
information, man.
she
Go
does.
ahead,
I
Roz.
mean, that's okay. Yeah, family. One more time, I'm gonna say, we got Sister Mechee X. This is her debut on Twitter Spaces. She seemed to be enjoying it because she's bringing nothing but heat. I mean, I thought it was hot outside today, but it's hot over here on this Twitter Spaces right now. I had a question for you, Sister Mechee, regarding 2A. Myself, and it's another, I think, firearms enthusiast. Most people that know that roll with me, they firearms enthusiasts. But it's like, can we speak? Can you speak to people that are trying to get us to put firearms down, especially the AR-15 or handguns, and they want us to do these gun buybacks? Can you speak to that, sister? Because I mean, I've been telling people about this, but maybe it needs to come from a different voice.
Absolutely. I first want to say that I think the stigma on the Black community and guns and gun violence is a big part of why we are always looking at guns in a negative way. I think it's easy for a lot of our communities to say, yeah, nobody needs a gun that big, or we got enough guns around here. You should tighten up on the laws. But I want to say this: people who go inside of schools and shoot up people, people who go in grocery stores, even the regular people who just go and shoot up a house because they're mad at a rival gang member, or shoot up a park. Those are called criminals. And criminals will never change their actions based on your laws. They don't follow the law. So let's be clear about that. So changing laws don't stop the criminals. These are all criminals that they use these cases to say, we should toughen up on gun laws, but that won't stop the problem. So I want us to understand that first and foremost. All that does is put people who should have the right to defend themselves against this crazy country and all of those crazy criminals who are going to have guns regardless. It allows you the right to be able to defend and protect yourself. And so you should not be the ones being told to put down your guns or to give them away, because if you understand the society that you live in, you should bear arms. Now, when we talk about bearing arms, I don't know if we go to the bare minimum of it, but let's go there. I have young daughters who are becoming adults, okay? And I want my child to be able to protect herself. She is a single woman. She is young. She lives on her own in an apartment building. She has to go down to her car early in the morning. There are a lot of things that people can become victims of. And I don't want my daughter to be the victim. When you choose her, I want you to know you chose the wrong person that day. And I think that she has the right to be able to defend herself against the craziness in this country. For me, when you ask me why should we, I think we need more guns, right? And let me tell you why I think we need more guns. I think if
Yes,
everybody practiced their rights of having a gun, how quick do you think the criminal would think that their gun gives them an edge? See, I'm in Georgia.
Exactly.
Everybody ain't
Exactly.
running up on you here with a
exactly.
gun,
There it is. There it
because a
is.
lot of people got one. See, you see how that works? So the more we are armed, what happens? I heard a person, and I'm not going to take credit for it. I don't remember who the person was said it. But I heard somebody give an analogy that Imagine somebody comes into the bank and he says, everybody put your hands up, and he puts a gun on everybody, tells you all to lay down on the ground, right? So it's one person controlling everybody with the gun. But what if everybody had a gun in the bank, just like that man that walked in had a gun?
Wouldn't
So
be no
he
robbery.
points a gun at y'all and tell y'all to get down. Y'all all pull out your guns and tell him, no, sir, you get down. Who you think winning that day? The
The
citizens
people.
that have the right to live in a safe space?
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
Well, Sister Michi, check this out. I mean, we it was a remember about a month and a half, 2 months ago with Buffalo. Those were
Mm-hmm.
our people in that store going grocery shopping. He would have
Absolutely.
never done that in a pro 2A state that allowed the average law-abiding citizens to do wear and carry. Sister, I just finished a class on Sunday, and we had people go in there, our people go in there, and they passed that wear and carry exam for two different states. One state had a 31 state reciprocity attached to it. We are not playing any kind of games. So that's what I'm talking about, and I appreciate your answer so much. Thank you for that. We're
Absolutely.
going to allow.
Let me say this
Yes,
real
ma'am.
quick too. You do know in the White Boys Manifesto, I did talk about it on my page. I actually email everybody in my email list the manifesto to read it. But one of the things he said is that he chose his location because he knew they had tough gun laws there, and that he knew he probably wouldn't be greeted with somebody else with a gun. So let's back that up for 1 second. He is the person looking to do damage. He just told us that he picked that place knowing he wouldn't have to contend with most people. So that tells you that criminals that look to do this kind of harm, the fact that other people might be armed is something that makes them think twice. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes, ma'am. And exactly, I had told people this is a very strong statistic that I mean, begging and praying for help when somebody's when a criminal is pointing that gun at you and they're going to kill you. Same thing with like Dylan Roof. That only works 4% of the time. 96% of the time, they're going to shoot. They're going to kill you. So
But
you
that's
don't
like
have a choice.
but you know, that's like in Chicago. There's this neighborhood called Portage Park, and everybody knows that in Portage Park they have the highest percentage of gun owners and the highest percentage of valid FOID cards. Very little burglary goes on in Portage Park, and they let you know that they're going to light you up if you do anything off. So yeah, I mean,
See?
I can roll with that.
Mm-hmm. See, exactly. They got lots of guns and they got low crime. That's what happen in this country. Don't let this government lie to y'all. More guns would make us safer. It would make them
Yeah.
criminals calm down. That's the
I
truth.
agree with that. I agree with that
Mhm.
100%. Yep.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because I mean, thank you for that, Sister Michi. Because I tell people, and they're very afraid, and a lot of the times, I mean, I don't want it's the churches or different institutions like that are doing gun buyback programs, and they never do it in the white or the Asian communities. They always come to our community, that the benign, neglected community, and always try to do these little gun buyback programs for a gift certificate or something stupid like that. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is crazy. You need to make sure, like we just did a Twitter space a couple weeks ago on this, and it was regarding gun buyback program in Houston and other Fort Worth, Texas. But no, we need to start getting more firearms. See what I'm saying? We think a lot alike. I'm gonna start letting people up on the stage because I know they are just, wanting to get up here and have a conversation. So if you're
Okay.
interested in asking Sister Michi a question, please raise your hand. Go ahead, Sister Michi.
I'm sorry. What was that last thing you said?
Said you could go ahead with what you were saying. I'm waiting for people to raise their hand if they wanted to come up and
Oh,
ask you a question.
oh, okay. Oh no, no. I was just saying, yeah. Don't sell you. Don't give your guns back. You should keep your guns. But I think they play the black community like that all the time, y'all. They just like they gave out gift cards and was it chicken sandwiches, and in places where weed is legal, they was giving out joints. for people to come and take that thing. I don't know if we could say that on Twitter. I ain't trying to get you in trouble. If this was YouTube, I would have just said it all over the place and
No,
I don't
you're not
care.
gonna get me in trouble, sis. Say what
But
you gotta
to come and
say.
get that damn shot. Right? They gave away
Right.
chicken sandwiches and gift cards and weed. Come and get, and you see how quickly like they play that game, because somebody who got a gun and they like, oh, I got this gun and I ain't really been using this sucker, and you know what, I'm kind of broke. You gonna give up your gun for a couple of little dollars. You know, they always play that game. When you deprive people, it's that same mentality of the man who kidnapped the girl, keep her in the basement, right? That Stockholm syndrome, and you starving. And when she see you coming with a plate of scraps, you're also her savior, because now you're the one that's feeding her. But she wouldn't be starving and have to be excited to see you for what little bit you're giving her if you weren't the one starving her in the first place. So don't let them play that little game. They keep us poor, and then they give you these little trinkets, and they give you this little moment because your stomach is rumbling. People don't listen when they hungry. You want to teach the people something. I hope ain't nobody on here hungry, because if you hungry right now, you can't hear two licks of what we saying. So you have to learn that in those conditions, people will give up things in that moment that they don't know they really need for something else they need in that moment, because that's the life of poverty. We switch off. Like, what I need now. I'm gonna worry about tomorrow when tomorrow get here. So we're never thinking in longevity. We thinking in this moment. And so they play us like that a lot. You know what I'm saying? Give us stupid stuff. Come give your gun back. You better keep your gun. You better keep it and go get you some more.
There it is. I mean, keep it and get you some more. They talk about AR 15s. They giving you a gift card for $200, and I'm like, are you out of your mind? Keep your firearm.